Kenya Boy starts off with a live action video of some old dude in a study. Why this is important won't be clear until right at the end of this review, but stick around because it's probably the best part. As the title implies, this anime is set in Kenya, so full points for originality. It even gets bonus originality points for being set during the outbreak of World War II. On the rare occasions anime are set during that time, it tends to focus on ordinary innocents who are thrust into this perilous situation by unseen forces. What they don't tend to be is particularly patriotic. It wasn't exactly a gold star on the Japanese history report form, which is why it did make me raise an eyebrow when the opening of Kenya Boy has the father tell his son to be strong because he's Japanese and therefore brave and noble and never backs down, and the land of the rising sun burns in his eyes. Even the local African folk they meet have a similar rhetoric. Oh, it's the wonderful Japanese boy. Your people are so smart and courageous and honourable, and oh, curse the darkness of my skin. I wish I was like you. I want to walk like you, talk like you, do. Hey, don't look at me, I'm not the person who made the anime. So yes, there's what appears to be a pretty severe racial jingoistic vibe to Kenya Boy, and I was ready to be all easily offended about the depiction of African people, before I remembered that I really know next to nothing about Central Africa circa 1940. Why wouldn't they be wearing their traditional African warrior clothing when greeting visitors to their village? That's basically their formal wear. Let's give Kenya Boy the benefit of the doubt and say it's just being historically accurate. The story starts with this kid leaving his mother to go to Kenya with his father as they do some research. However, while they're there, the Japanese declare war on the British, so the father and the son have to flee the village because it's being raided by British troops. Unfortunately, they get split up because the kid gets into his mind that it would be a great idea to jump on the back of a giant enraged rhino. I should probably mention the animation style at this point, because it's kind of crazy and all over the place. There's a few neat tricks, like the background being drawn in as we watch, and then there's some really weird stuff, like the background being a literal sheet of paper the enraged rhino burst through. At first I thought it was just all artistic touches, but the more the movie went on, the more I doubted that theory, thinking that it looked more and more like it was just sent off before the animators could finish colouring in between the lines. And then more things happened that led me to believe the animators just had their heads in buckets of cocaine as they made this. But more on that later. So the kid gets lost in the savannah, running away from panthers, giant ghost hippos, drawings of crocodiles, normal animals. Aside from the art style though, the story had been fairly grounded until then. Well, apart from the giant frog. But again, I don't know much about Africa circa 1940, so maybe giant frogs were just a thing that eventually went extinct, like the dodo or hippies or hyper-violent Japanese OVAs. The kid gets picked up by a local warrior dude who brings him back to his village and raises him as his own, teaching him how to ride elephants, how to use a spear, how to feed lions to the giant snake. The giant snake. The famous Kenyan giant snake. The kid finds a pretty Aryan lady who is actually Scottish. She's a part of another tribe, but she's like a goddess for them, with her wavy, floaty, magical hair and everything. The kid opts to try save her, fighting off an army of African tribesmen stormtroopers, so inefficient they could get into a fight with a dead rabbit and lose. He goes after her, partly because he's fallen in love, but also because he discovers that the leader there is keeping her slave so he can trick his followers into believing he controls a goddess. But if she's not a goddess, then why can't she do the whole magical floating hair thing? What do I know? Maybe 1940s Scottish Aryans could make their hair float like that. This results in a huge fight involving lions and elephants and fire and the giant snake and more African stormtroopers, which the animators forget to even colour in sometimes. But even that could be intentional, because later the kid suddenly turns black and the tribesmen turn white, only for them to look at each other and get all shocked and then black up again. Is this some sort of meta commentary on putting out anime before they're completed? Okay. Get past the underground lizard men and the Loch Ness monster. Oh yeah, Nazis! Of course Nazis were going to appear. This is 1944 and all. He's comically evil, obviously, threatening to shoot the father after he has his touching reunion with his son. Then suddenly the camera goes all skewed, which I'd normally assume was something wrong with the file I downloaded, but with Kenya Boy I'm honestly not sure. The Nazi tells the scientist to blow up his atomic bomb in Africa, which he refuses because it results in the death of the rare Kenyan giant frogs. But then the screen turns red, so obviously something has gone horribly wrong. Or maybe the animators just spilled tomato juice all over their storyboards. And then things get weird. Weirder. The bomb apparently goes off and the camera gets overexposed, and then someone drops a storyboard and coffee, and then someone sits on the contrast button on the remote, and then dinosaurs appear! Yes, the atomic bomb is apparently so powerful the trio of main characters get blown back to a period when dinosaurs were having an acid-induced rave. They were all about to get eaten by a T-Rex, but then the giant snake, who can apparently time travel now, charges in and has an awe-inspiring fight to the death with the T-Rex. This fight is apparently so goddamn fucking epic that it caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. Yes, the dinosaurs were wiped out by a time-travelling giant snake. But somehow the snake digitizes the dinosaurs, or maybe digitized himself. Maybe he was an illusion all along. The atomic bomb of the dinosaurs apparently didn't happen because they're back in Kenya now on their bit trippy giant snake as he slithers across the cosmos looking like a giant purple dong censored by overzealous Japanese authorities sailing on by the 8-bit gazelles. Did the snake ever exist? Did Kenya even exist? When the kid meets his mother again, the animation style turned back to the one used when he left her originally, and he's back in that same trendy denim suit. Maybe the Guardian was never real, because he disappears off into the distance at the end. Maybe the Aryan Scottish girl wasn't real? Wait, actually she goes home with them, so she was? Maybe it's all a metaphor for World War II? Maybe it's all a metaphor for adolescence? Remember that scene right at the start with the old dude in his study? Well, it turns out that he was the kid. He was the Kenya boy. He's alive today, writing his memoirs. It's all a true story. The giant snake, the longest was the T-Rex. It was all based on